Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Phoenix Suns, the 3 versus 6 matchup. Who do you have winning that series, and what's getting you excited about it, Matt?
Oh, we're going straight into predictions. I love it. I'm going with the Suns. We're going to start the way I'm taking the Suns. I'm taking the underdogs in this. One of my biggest concerns is the drop coverage that the Timberwolves are likely going to play with Rudy Gobert. And you're going against some mid-range masters. You're going against Kevin Durant. You're going against Bradley Beal. You're going against Devin Booker. I think they're going to get a lot of open looks. I think it's going to be a gritty series once again. But I just don't trust the Timberwolves in the playoffs, and I know that they're trying to they're trying to win a championship. That's what they're trying to do. This is the Suns. They're not here. Like they didn't trade all in to say But I do have some concerns, and they do have some things they need to mess up because their defensive communication is horrific. Yusuf Nurkic is not big enough. They don't have a lot of size, but they are small and finessey. So I'll start with my prediction. I'm going to say Phoenix in 7. We're saying some long series so far, but you can get on to me.
All right, that's an interesting pick. Yeah, the thing about this series that's tough is everything the Timberwolves aren't so good at, the Suns are good at. So the matchup just like fits like hand in glove for the Suns, and it's a little bit tough for the Wolves. And you could see that as well in the outcome for the season series overall. Like every game was basically a blowout. Suns won comfortably. And obviously that won't determine everything, but when you have a team that gives up the most mid-range shots in the Timberwolves and you're facing a team that seems to only like taking mid-range shots in the Suns, it's going to be tough. And just from a matchup perspective as well, it's going to be tough because in the last game of the season, Karl Anthony Towns was out there trying to guard Grayson Allen, which is hard to do, trying to keep up with him on the perimeter. And then, Kevin Durant on Cat is not an ideal matchup, but it's like something he could be serviceable at, given help and stuff from the team. So it's definitely much more advantageous to the Suns. So it sucks for the for the Wolves because I think they could beat basically any other team in the West, but they're just facing the one team that gives them real issues. And while Anthony Edwards is going to step up, I think it's still going to be tough because Gobert and Cat still haven't perfectly found out how to play with each other. They just learned how to defend well together. But when you're facing a matchup like this where you don't really fit that well, because what are you gonna do? You can't put Gobert on Allen, or else Allen's gonna get a bunch of open shots. Similar issue with Cat. If you try moving Cat up to someone else, it's like you won't have him guarding KD, you won't have him guarding Bradley Beal or Devin Booker consistently. So it's just a tough matchup overall. And for that reason, I would say Suns in 6 games, I'll say, just so that the Suns win on their home court. I don't think they'll take too many games in Minnesota. So yeah, that's basically my prediction. Anyone else you want to feature? Maybe Anthony Edwards?
Oh, I thought we were going to disagree. I really thought that Timberwolves, there's going to be some more Timberwolves love from YAMology today, or Amology. No, sorry, not YAMology. So YMology. Anyhow, okay, that's really interesting to see. I mean, it's like could the Wolves go zone, but it doesn't really work, and they don't communicate that well. They're not that shifty. You need to be kind of versatile and communicative. They don't have that. Cat's improved as a defensive communicator, but it's not there yet. Obviously, you have guys like Jaden McDaniels and stuff. You can kind of that's probably going to be their matchup with KD. Obviously, that makes the most sense. But yeah, it's Grayson Allen. These people, like even Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic doesn't play that low. He will bring Rudy Gobert out from the paint up to the nail potentially, where they're going to run a lot of handoffs. They run a lot of offense through him, a lot of backcourt cuts, a lot of zoom actions. They are trying to read how they're playing. I'd love to. What I'm really excited for is the Anthony Edwards and Devin Booker matchup. Devin Booker always succeeds in the playoffs. He's always kind of stepped up. There's never been a record where his like defense kind of steps down, all these kind of stuff. Obviously, he's not had the most team success, and obviously, if you go against Luka Doncic, and that's his father right there, it's tough. But I would love to see some draw between Anthony Edwards and Devin Booker, Kentucky guy, a Georgia Tech guy. It'll be fun. It'll be really fun. Obviously, Ant is probably. Ooh, who's the best player in the series? Scale?
Good question. Good question. Because
Or let's
it's
rank top three.
yeah, top. Oh, okay. This is tough. Because in theory, it should be Devin Booker, but at the same time, he's been struggling as of late. And then you think maybe KD, but KD's a little bit older. His game is more methodical now. He's still extremely versatile, but not as versatile as he used to be. And then you have Ant, who's the up and coming guy. So I think I would have Ant at three, basically 100%. At two, I would probably lean KD, and then I'll have Book at one. But that's tough. Like I don't love that rating. What about you?
I think it depends on the series, but I would agree. Ant has the highest ceiling to be the best player in the series, defensively and offensively, just as the kind of playmaker he is. I'm gonna go Book then KD.
Okay, so we're both on the same page then. Yep. Okay, so part of the reason that Kevin Durant isn't as high on my list is it's literally just because he doesn't drive anymore. If you watch KD play, unless he has an open lane, this guy's just gonna pull up for a jumper. And given that he's one of the most efficient mid-range shooters in the league, it's not necessarily a bad decision, but it's still a little bit tough to see
You're not
and
gonna
tough to
collapse the
expect that to
defense.
consistently go in. Hmm?
Yeah, you're not gonna collapse the defense the same way. Even if you take that midi, like as soon as you get below the basket, that's when people collapse. That's the best gravity you can create. It's at the rim, unless your name's Steph Curry.
Yep. So, hopefully Suns are probably hoping that the Wolves are going to drop a lot. I assume the Wolves are just going to try to straight up switch and then have their chances with Gobert guarding in the perimeter a little bit, just because if you drop every single time and you're giving up an open mid-range shot to Bradley Beal, to Devin Booker, to KD, like that's their bread and butter. That's the shot that they do want. So we'll see what the Wolves do. They are a good defense, and Chris Finch is a good coach, so I expect them to come out strong. And I honestly hope they prove me wrong, but as of now, my prediction is Suns in six. What about you, Matt? You're set on Suns on seven? Suns in seven.
Uh, I think sixes are always more likely, but yeah, I think we'll go seven. The Suns have had a couple of good sevens recently,
Yep.
so
Now, let's name our X factors real quick and then we'll wrap up this one. My X factor for the Wolves is going to be Rudy Gobert scoring. I don't expect him to score a ton, but he needs to be able to score efficiently and reliably. So, yeah, I'd say Rudy Gobert scoring, and then the obvious one, Cat defending as well. On the Sun side, I would probably say allowing the three or four guard lineups to work effectively, or three guards plus KD lineups to work effectively. If they can get a good small ball lineup going defensively, then they're probably going to be set for the series. Like they could potentially run the Wolves out of the gym if that's the case. So those are my X factors. What about you?
well, you're talking about specifics, not maybe players, but obviously that mid-range efficiency, you have to adjust if they're just hitting everything. But at the same time, maybe today's not the day. Game two, you might go 35% from the mid-range and you can live with that in the day of analytics. So obviously the mid-range shooting is a big factor, but in terms of players, I'm going to take Grayson Allen. If he just shoots the skin off the ball, you won't be able to play Cat and Gobert at the same time. It just won't be possible. And on the Wolves side, I'm going to take future six man of the year, Naz Reid, because we need some Naz Reid love on this podcast. He's been had a great season, and he's a much better defensive communicator, which is kind of the biggest thing. When you have two bigs on the floor, you need to talk to each other. But we can wrap up there, and we will catch you soon.